We're working towards living off of our land here at Freedom Forest and being as food self-sufficient as possible. In today's video, I'm going to share with you what crops we rely on most in our mission to live off of our land. If you're new to our channel today, welcome along and thank you for joining us. I'm joining you from our hardy tropical jungle today, and the 3 acres of land that we have here is what we call Freedom Forest. And we have a selection of growing beds and polytunnels, a food forest, some native woodlands and lots of wildlife areas here. Our top crops consist of some well-known and well-used crops and some not so, although I'm not sure why some of these crops aren't used and grown more. Our choices are based on a combination of yield, ease of growth and durability in the kitchen. Okay, so let's get started with my 10 top crops. And this list isn't in any particular order of preference. It's just the 10 things that I couldn't be without. And the first one on the list is tomatoes, something that most of us know and love. And we grow a lot of them here at Freedom Forest. And they're a great summer crop to have fresh. And I use them so much in cooking. But what I also do is I make a condensed roasted tomato paste with them, which I then freeze and jar and can store throughout the rest of the off-season, and I can have our homegrown tomatoes to use all throughout the year. My second top crop for self-sufficiency is garlic. And just like tomatoes, we grow a lot of garlic here. At least 100 bulbs every year. And that amount gives us enough garlic to see us through a whole season in cooking, and also enough seed garlic to plant for the following year's crop. And one of the great things about garlic is that it sits in the ground and grows all through the winter, so it's not taking up your precious bed space when you need it the most. And garlic is something that we've been 100% self-sufficient in already for about 3 years. And we've made a few other videos about garlic as well, so if you'd like to see our harvests and how we grow our garlic, then check out those videos too. Number 3 on my list of top crops is chilies. And if you hadn't worked out already, I love to cook. And chilies, just like garlic, are so good for you and add such good flavour to our food. Chilies can be stored in a number of ways. You can freeze them, you can dry them, you can grind them. And so by having chilies and garlic on hand throughout the year, that means we can cut right back on our store-bought condiments that we would have otherwise bought, helping us towards our goal of being self-sufficient in our food. Moving away from the better-known crops a little, number 4 on my list of top crops is Jerusalem artichokes. And Jerusalem artichokes are an amazing crop. They grow so easily and abundantly here. They provide flowers through the summer, and then they provide such a good winter staple food. They're also largely pest and disease free, which is awesome, and you can just leave them in the ground and harvest them as you need them, so they stay really fresh. They do have a tendency to spread though, so if you are gardening on a smaller scale, I would recommend trying to keep them contained in a raised bed or something, so that your whole garden plot doesn't get taken over by Jerusalem artichokes. But otherwise, they are absolutely awesome, and I would not be without them now. You can eat them raw, you can eat them fermented, you can roast them, you can chip them, and you will always have an abundance of them. We absolutely love Jerusalem artichokes. If you know us and you've been following our channel for a while, then you'll know that this next crop was always going to be on our list of top crops. And top crop number 5 is, of course, Yacon. And Yacon is an amazing lesser known tuber which grows amazingly well here in our temperate climates. The crowns can be divided each year to extend your crop. It stores well in the ground for quite a long time, and it can be used raw, or it can be cooked, or it can be juiced and then reduced down to make a sweet Yacon syrup that you can use much like agave or honey. It's an amazing crop, and I won't go on too much about it here because we have made quite a few other videos about Yacon. So if you'd like to learn more, go and check out our other Yacon videos. Next on the list is a really important crop, and top crop number 6 is dried beans. And we're really making a big effort with our dried beans this year to try and get a better idea of the scale that we need to grow them on to give ourselves a year's supply of beans. Now, beans are great for many, many reasons. When you are growing them for drying, there are so many varieties to choose from, which is really exciting and really colourful. They also need very little input once they have started shooting. You literally give them a support to grow on and leave them to do their thing right through until when they're dried on the vines. And so probably the most labour intensive part of growing beans is when it comes to shelling them right at the end of the season. And beans are of course a great source of protein, which is really, really important. And they store really well too, so it makes them a great crop to grow when you are trying to be food self-sufficient. Number 7 on our list is potatoes. Of course, the trusty potato had to be on the list. They offer a great source of calories and of course can be used in so many ways. You have the joy of having young, sweet salad potatoes early in the year, and then the potatoes that get bigger can be stored really well to last right throughout the winter. Number 8 on the list is apples. And apples are such a versatile resource which grows really quite well in our climates once your trees have established. And apples can of course be eaten raw, they can be cooked, they can be stored, and they can be frozen. They can even be made into cider for drinking. But most importantly, what I feel I use apples for is to make apple cider vinegar, which I use to preserve the excess of some of our other crops that we grow here so that they can last longer for us also. Number 9 on my list of top crops for self-sufficiency is loose leaf greens. And for us, this would change throughout the season. So it might be lettuce, or it might be spinach, or chard, or a number of different varieties of kale. But what we have done more recently is moved right away from growing heading varieties of both cabbages and lettuce, because we find that the productivity you get from the cut and come again varieties is just much more valuable. And that's both in terms of space and in terms of the fact that you can just pick what you need each time and then come back and get it fresh right from the plant next time that you need some more. Last but certainly not least of our 10 crops for self-sufficiency is corn. And corn is something that we're starting to grow more and more here at Freedom Forest. We currently grow 3 different types of corn. One of them is dent corn, which you use for parching and for flour. And then we grow popping corn, which we use for snacks, and of course sweet corn. And what we're hoping to do over time is use more of our flour that we can produce ourselves from the corn and replace a lot of the wheat flour that we currently have to buy in. So corn can be a great crop for self-sufficient growers because it can be used as a replacement for crops like wheat or oats that you would need a lot of space for and a lot of processing equipment as well. And I've got a fun fact for you about corn. It's said that nowadays corn relies on humans as much as humans rely on corn. And that's because corn has been modified so much over thousands and thousands of years that it would now be incapable of regenerating on its own without human intervention. So that's our 10 top crops for living off the land. Obviously this list could go on, and really for us, everything that we grow here is essential in some way, otherwise we wouldn't grow it. But that is 10 of the crops that we really couldn't be without, that provide us a really good staple diet and nutrients. Would really love to hear from you guys about what crops you just couldn't be without, particularly if you're trying to be food self-sufficient too. If you've enjoyed this video today, please give it a like by clicking the thumbs up button below, and also leaving us a comment to let us know. The other way that you can really help to support us here and what we do is by making sure that you are subscribed to our channel on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching and being with us today. Me and Murph look forward to seeing you again soon. Peace and plants! You silly dog. The list could go on and on, Murph, on and on. Polytunnels, a food forest, native woodland, and lots of wildlife areas. And lots of aeroplanes going overhead right now.